Testing. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. I know some people have traveled a long way, but before we begin, we have some dignitaries in the house. Today, Mr. Fedor Emelianenko. Fedor, thank you for coming from Moscow. Thank you very much. Mr. Kavanaugh from Dublin, he's in the house. Thank you very much as well. It's always nice to see, our top fighters, the top trainers, the top coaches, which leads me to the first statement is 5 years ago, we had a task. The task really was to get the best fighters in the world to come to Bellator because, Bellator, I sat down with my fight team when I first came on board and said, we got to make this better. We got to improve this. We got to get the best fighters in the world, the top free agents, because at that time, free agency just was not happening. And so we started reaching out to the fighters that were starting to become free agents. We started signing fighters from the top down. We started building and signing fighters from the bottom up. And today, what I think you'll see is a culmination of that exercise and that task and that goal. And now I can say that we checked that box because we have some of the best fighters in the world, fighters that can fight anybody in any weight class. We have some young fighters that are up and coming that are going to be the future of this company. And it really was the same team back in 2007, 2008 that helped build Strikeforce, that helped build today's Bellator. So I appreciate my staff, I appreciate the fight team. I think we've all worked really hard, and now we have a fight roster and a fight product that we're very proud of. We started out to a very good year, 2000. We had the debut of Christy Borg, who is a longtime friend and a colleague. Call her my business partner now. And she had a great fight with Julia Budd in Los Angeles at the Forum. And she had a great success, great fight, and she was victorious and became the champion. We also had a sellout fight in Dublin. As you can see later today, our momentum only continues. And really, at the end of the day, it really is about the fighter. And it's about the fighters that fight for the company. And it's the fighters that we recruit, the fighters that we build. And so I'm very proud of the people that you'll see up here in the next couple of minutes. Viacom CBS. As many of you know, over the last few months, Viacom and CBS have officially merged to collectively become Viacom CBS. I'd like to thank our CEO, Mr. Bob Backish, who's a very busy man, but he's a big supporter of Bellator, and I'm thankful for him. We've had many conversations about the vision, about where this company is going to go, and he's on board and he's all in. When he came to the Mohegan Sun fight about 4 or 5 months ago, here's CEO of a mega company like Viacom, multimedia, and very busy, has worldwide operations all over the globe, and yet he's in the back talking to the fighters, the trainers, the athletic commission, our staff, the staff of the venue. And so to me, he's engaged, and it makes me feel really good about our future and about where we're headed in the next year, next 2 years, next 3 years, with a leader like Bob Backish leading the way. The European Series, this was another goal that we had 2 or 3 years back. When I came on board, Viacom said, we'd like you to go international. And we really want you guys to build, not just do one-offs, build an event by event. We want you to build a business in the UK. We want you to build a business in Asia at some point. We want you to build a business in Latin America at some point. So we're definitely on our way. We've had great success with the Channel 5 series. I'd like to thank the man leading the charge there, Mr. David Green. He's been doing a great job. We've also landed a distribution deal for our late night fights. When I say late night fights, I'm talking about the live fights here on Sky Sports that air very early in the morning in the UK, as well as Virgin TV in Ireland. In addition, we just recently announced a partnership with noted bookmaker William Hill as our exclusive gambling partner of the series. So Europe, check. Fighters, check. Bob Backish, CBS, Viacom, check. Sponsors. Monster Energy has been a great sponsor for us. It's been a great relationship. Hans Molenkamp has been a good friend for many years, way before this relationship began. And they've done so many great things as far as activation and pushing our brand along with their brand in all the stores. We have a great campaign coming out across the country coming up, I think, in the next 3 or 4 months, which will include DAZN as well. And thank you, Monster. Thank you for Mr. Hans Molenkamp for that. As well, we have Boost Mobile, we have AutoZone, Burger King, and our newest partner of 2019, CBD MD. These are all very integral parts of Bellator. Let's talk about DAZN. we were looking for a great partner somewhere to bring our pay-per-view quality fights, and we met DAZN, which, as you guys know, has been a great streaming partner for Bellator as well as for the big boxing fights. We started back in 2018. Like I said, we've been offering our fans pay-per-view quality fights for incredible value. I think this is the best value in sports right now. They've been exclusive home of our World Grand Prix tournaments. And I think the tournament has been such a great piece of business for us. Started with the heavyweight tournament, which started on Paramount, and now it's on DAZN, our featherweight tournament, which is continuing this this Friday evening, March 13th at the Mohegan Sun. And if you recall the picture of 50 Cent with his champagne, blasting it with Douglas Lima there, with $1 million prize money, that's something we're very proud of. So the tournament will continue. This year is the featherweight, next year it'll be another tournament on DAZN. And we look forward to working with them. A very good friend that's been a good colleague, been a great partner. And I'd like to introduce him from DAZN. He's the EVP of North America, Mr. Joe Markowski.
Thanks, Scott, and thanks to reiterate Scott's message, thanks to all the members of the media for coming and joining us today. We appreciate the effort. It's great to see so many of the fighters backstage. You'll see them on stage shortly. They really do represent three pretty explosive fight nights coming up shortly on DAZN, obviously starting with Friday's DAZN exclusive event up at Mohegan Sun. Scott, we mentioned our partnership. We're 18 months into that partnership. Bellator have always delivered for us when it comes to delivering what we want, and that's what MMA fans want. That's obvious from our recent schedule with Bellator, and it's obviously reiterated in the months coming up. The legendary Christy Borg becoming Bellator's new featherweight titleist after a pretty incredible performance against longtime champ Julia Budd. The featherweight World Grand Prix advancing onwards, AJ and Darion. Good to see them backstage. They've been thrilling to watch thus far, and I can't wait to see what triumphs we'll see in the elimination round this weekend. World champ Douglas Lima again saw him backstage defending his new belt against Gegard Mousasi, one of our early Bellator fighters on DAZN. Very much looking forward to that one too. So all of that and more on DAZN in the coming months. As you've likely heard, we'll shortly be dramatically increasing our presence globally. We announced that last week. We'll be expanding to more than 200 markets and territories around the world. In the first phase of our global expansion, we're very proud to say we'll continue our efforts in the US, very much focused on boxing, MMA, and the broader fight sports roster. I'm happy to confirm that beginning in June, Bellator events that we hold exclusively on DAZN in the US will be available again on DAZN in more than 100 markets and territories around the world, including key countries, I'm sure, for Scott and the organisation in Europe and Asia. We look forward to sharing more information about all of that in the next weeks and months. But for now, thanks very much again to the media. Good luck to all the fighters, and thanks again, Scott, for your hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Scott. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our first matchup.
Please welcome Peter, the showstopper,
Presenting Patricky Pitbull. Just announced here this morning, we return to Dublin to the 3 Arena Saturday, October 3rd, as part of the Bellator European Series. And in the lightweight main event, please welcome Peter Queally versus Patricky Pitbull. Queally, of course, out of the famed SBG in Dublin, and Patricky, a member of the team Pitbull Brothers from Natal, Brazil.
I'd love to run it back with Vincent Anderson. I will be back, believe it.
Also just added to the schedule, we make our way back to Chicago, Saturday, June the 6th for a stacked card live on DAZN in the main event, the lightweight rematch. Please welcome Iron Michael Chandler versus Smooth Benson Henderson. Chandler, the former three-time Bellator lightweight world champion, and Henderson, multiple world titles to his credit. Also on that same card in Chicago, it'll be the Featherweight World Grand Prix semi-final round gets underway. The Wolf against the Mercenary. Please welcome Darion Caldwell versus A.J. Mckee. Caldwell, the former Bellator Bantamweight World Champion, and A.J. Mckee undefeated at 16-0. Bellator European Series makes his 2020 UK debut in London on Saturday, May 16th, SSC Arena in Wembley. In the main event, bantamweights, please welcome Cal, Eleanor, and James the Strabanimal Gallagher. Gallagher representing SBG Ireland, Eleanor fighting out of England. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Douglas Lima. Bellator 242, May 9th in San Jose, California, hosting two title fights live on Paramount Network. Introducing first for the vacant middleweight world championship, the Phenom Douglas Lima versus Gegard Mousasi. Lima looking to become a double champ with that middleweight title. Mousasi looking to regain Bellator middleweight gold. Presenting Vadim Nemkov. Also on the same card that night, Bellator 242 in the main event for the light heavyweight strap. Please welcome the challenger, Vadim Nemkov, and the defending champion, Ryan Darth Bader. The challenger's first ever title challenge out of Team Fedor, and the champ, of course, a double champ, looking to hang on to that light heavyweight strap while holding heavyweight gold.
I've already beat Sanchez, and I have no problem to beat him again. My mind was already made up even before before this selection show. I knew that I wanted him. Very glad that he won. Very glad that I got the fight that I wanted. So it's time to go redemption.
And coming up this Friday, Bellator 241, just up the road, Mohegan Sun, live on DAZN. The quarterfinal round wraps up in Bellator's Featherweight World Grand Prix. Please welcome the two fighters, Daniel Weichel, Emmanuel Sanchez. Both men former world title challengers looking to advance to the next fight, which would be a world title shot.
He's gonna pay for everything he said.
And in the main event this Friday, another reigning double champ puts his title on the line. The final quarterfinal round matchup in the World Grand Prix. Please welcome the challenger, Pedro Carvalho, and the defending champion, Patricio Pitbull. It's once again SPG Ireland against Team Pitbull, Brazil. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll welcome back to the podium for questions, Mr. Scott Coker.
I'd like to just say, testing. Okay, one thing about Friday's fight on the 13th, this Friday, don't forget the winners will continue on, and June 6th will be the semifinals, but the championship continues on. So whoever the champ, after the weekend this Friday, will continue on and have another world championship fight on June 6th. That's going to be in Chicago, live on DAZN as one of our exclusive DAZN events. So thank you very much, and let's open it up for questions.
Gareth Davis from The Telegraph. Can I ask you first, Scott, how important was it to get both Ryan Bader back in action, and obviously to get the middleweight belts back in action with Douglas Lima and Gegard Mousasi?
Yeah, getting Ryan back was one of our top priorities. As you guys know, it's been a while since he fought, but I can assure you we're going to keep him busy because he is the double champ, and as soon as he comes off this fight, we'll talk to him about the weight class, but you know, I'd like Ryan to fight 3-4 times a year, to be honest.
Can I get an answer from you, Ryan, on that? Obviously, you've had a layoff. Your opponent's just here in front of us, of course, from the heavyweights final. Were you pushing to get back, and was there one belt more than the other that you wanted to defend?
We kind of knew we were going back down for sure. It's been since 2017 since I won and defended. You know, but we went through that tournament and they asked me to defend the heavyweight first, and so I did that, and now it's on. Go down 205, and so yeah, I was ready to go. You know, we were trying to do January on, so worked out. It's May 9th, so I got that fight booked, and I'm happy about it. And like Scott was saying, I want to be active also, so we're on the same wavelength.
And a final question for Douglas Lima. You know, champ is a very fashionable thing at the moment. There are a few of them floating around. How important for you in your legacy is this fight with one of the great mixed martial artists of all time, I would say, Gegard Mousasi?
Definitely, you know, I like the champ talk. The main thing is just legacy, you know, fighting a guy like that, you know what I mean? One of the best in the world for sure, you know, a lot of respect. And man, looking forward to the challenge, you know what I mean? It's what I'm here for. I want big challenges, and this is the biggest for me right now, so I'm looking forward to this.
Question for Scott. Scott, you have obviously this event is stacked, and it looks like summer and spring is going to be a big big season for Bellator. Can you talk about the importance of spring and summer for the company upcoming here in this year, and some of the matchups you're excited to see?
I mean, if you look at the amount of talent that's up here, that's really what I'm excited about. These fights are going to be unbelievable. We have some of the best fighters in the world in every division. Listen, these guys can fight anybody in the world. It doesn't matter what organization. And you know what, they have proven to me over and over that you know, they deserve to be where they're at, and that's here with Bellator. So as far as, you know, the spring and summer, we wanted to actually bring it to you guys to let you know what we have planned. And it's going to be a big spring and summer for us, and I'm not just excited about, you know, the next 3-4 months. I'm excited about the fall. We have an amazing fall schedule coming up that we'll announce later, but also what's going to happen in the next year, and the year after, and the year after as we expand. Like I said, this is a company that went from doing 16 fights a year 5 years ago to doing 30 fights a year, and now I believe that we'll be doing 40, maybe 50 fights a year in the next 3-4 years.
And one final one for you. Is there any concern of having a champ in a tournament, because you know that means multiple title defenses in one weight class, and then no title defenses in whatever other weight class they hold the belt in?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I think we should really think about. I think you're right, because the champ gets stuck in the tournament and he can't defend us of the belt. But you know, I was hoping that the last fight for Pitbull maybe wasn't as damaging, you know, for him, and he could fight, you know, the fight in between, and it just didn't work out. But in saying that, you know, we will wrap this tournament up sometime, hopefully August, early September, and then he can defend his lightweight belt right after that, and we'll put on some elimination fights, you know, to get him ready for that.
Is Chandler versus Henderson a title eliminator? Who do you think is up next in lightweight?
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is the elimination fight right here. I mean, this is, you know, you talk about two of the baddest men on the planet, so you know, to me that makes the most sense. And you know, but let's see how things go, because you never know in this sport.
And for Ryan, it's been since 2017 since you fought at light heavyweight. Any concerns dropping back down to 205, given the fact that you fought at heavyweight and you don't have to worry about the weight cut?
No, a couple of months ago, I kind of tried to get down as low as possible without cutting water, basically. I got down to like 213. That's without cutting water. So it kind of reset my body. I was upwards of 240 in camp. Now I'm sitting at about 225, so that's no concern.
And a question for Emmanuel Sanchez and Daniel Vaicho. Pretty much if you win this fight, the next fight's going to be a title fight regardless of who you're going to face next. Can you talk about what's it like having a champ in your bracket, and do you prefer that as opposed to having, you know, facing the champion at the end of the tournament?
Go ahead, Daniel. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. That's a great question. I did not plan ahead of time being on the same side of the champion's choice in the selection show. Who knows what was going to happen, or who he would decide to go with, what date or what opponent. But I have an opportunity, a great opportunity for redemption here on two men who have defeated me. And so after I take out Daniel Vaicho, I'll have the opportunity to take out Patricio Pitbull as well too, and go on to become the featherweight World Grand Prix champion.
Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter in which bracket I was going to, but it was always about writing legacy, and this tournament is all about that, fighting the best featherweights on the planet, and having Pitbull in my pool. Yeah, it looks like all good things coming through.
And one last one for Douglas Lima. Douglas Lima, this is a this is going to be a nice super fight. You going up to 185. Have you had that in your mind for a while, moving up a weight class? I mean, the media and often fans talk about how big you look at 170. Kind of just speak to us about your mentality going up to 185, and if that's something you've had on your mind for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I've always talked about, you know, moving up to middleweight, and I think this is the perfect timing for it. You know, the top 5, 6 top guys, you know, in the welterweight, I've beat all of them. So it's just a good time for them, you know, to settle and see who's gonna be next, and just a big opportunity for me to, you know, cement my legacy. You know, I want pound for pound list. You know what I mean? This fight will do it. You know what I mean? It's a big fight. You know, I'm all about super fights and stuff like that, and yeah, just really can't wait for this one.
Question for Nemkov. They show the highlight video and obviously the connection with Emelianenko. I just wanted to know any feelings you have with the upcoming matchup and how it's affected your training, preparation, things like that.
я думаю прежде всего о своем бою, но все равно, как бы то ни было, бить буду. Бой будет тяжелым, и буду бить и за себя, и за Федора. Так что тут, скопилось.
He said, of course, this fight is, my fight, and it's about me fighting Ryan, and it's not going to be an easy fight for me. But yes, when I hit him, I'm going to hit him for me and for Fedor, because it's kind of accumulated by now. So.
And a follow-up just for Mr. Bader, if you have any, obviously, a reaction to that.
Yeah, it's a totally different fight, totally different person, and you can't take much either way from our fight. It ended quickly, and it's one of those things that it could be a lot different. It went, the full 5 rounds. Just happened to go like that, and it is what it is. I know I have my hands full with him. He's a totally different fighter, young fighter coming up, and I'm looking forward to that test coming down to 205. Get those young, fast guys again. So I'm pumped for it.
And just one last one for James Gallagher. I just wanted an update from you. I know you had an injury not that long ago, and the fight's coming up in May, so I just wanted to see where you were at in preparation and stuff.
Yeah, I'm feeling great now. I'm back into training. I'm literally just back from Dubai. I was overseeing, there's also Manny Pacquiao's surgeon, and he was examining me and sorting me out. We went through a load of stuff over there, and I'm feeling in tip-top shape and ready to knuckle down, and I'm looking forward to keeping this man's head in May 16th.
Scott, based on how some things could play out over the next couple of months, you could wind up with 6 belts being held by just 3 guys. From a business standpoint, do you consider that a good thing, a bad thing, or would it be a little too top-heavy?
I mean, at the end of the day, these fighters deserve it. I mean, this is a fight that actually Douglas Lima called and asked for to fight Gallagher. We had the situation with Lovato, and we had a vacant belt, so he was naturally the one to call up, and we said, hey, if he wants to do it, let's put it together. Having 3 guys hold 6 different belts, to me, I'm okay with it as long as they're active. And the tournament situation, like this gentleman pointed out earlier, is not ideal because he gets stuck in the tournament for so long, but as long as we don't have a tournament going and they have a double belts, we're just going to keep them busy. And we have a very busy fall schedule, so I think we'll be able to keep all the guys busy that have 2 belts.
Brett Butler with The Source. First question for Darion, Caldwell, AJ Mckee. Obviously, you guys are in the tournament, and when you realize you were fighting each other, is this something that you hoped would have happened? Because I think for many fans that have been following both of your careers, this is a dream matchup that just happened to come together. And what you think when you knew you were going to fight each other, because you both are at a point in your career where, obviously for AJ, this is a big fight for you, and then for Darion also, you got a young lion coming up, this will be big for you as well. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I think this fight was inevitable. AJ's a guy coming up. I'm a star in this division, in this sport, and if he wants to be a star, he's got to go through me, so I think it was just inevitable,
For me, I don't know, it's just one fight at a time, I wrote myself $1 million check when I was young, so I got a couple dreams to conquer here, and anybody standing in my way, they're going to get that work, in other words. So, yeah, it's the fight everyone wants to see. Looking forward to fighting and putting on a great show.
And next question for Scott. Obviously, 50 Cent was a major part of the tournament system. What do you think, looking back at that interaction, and do you think in the future there'll be more collaborations with pop culture stars, music artists, things such as that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good friend of the family here at Bellator, and we love having him with the fights, and we love promoting his champagne brand for him. I think we both did a great job, and I think that you'll see him back soon.
Donald Corby, Sports Matters. Scott, we saw last week that DAZN UK is going to launch. How's that going to impact Bellator in the UK and Ireland?
I just think more fights. I mean, at the end of the day, DAZN has the exclusive tournament series, and there's 7 fights. And we're going to talk about maybe some other synergies we might be able to work together. Like I said, this is a company that's growing rapidly. We're growing rapidly, and we're going to have a lot of great content for DAZN.
Is that going to be the home of Bellator in the UK and Ireland going forward once it's launched?
Well, that's something that we'll have to talk about. I mean, they will have their 7 fights, and these are big fights, guys. These are pay-per-view quality fights. They will have those 7 fights for the UK and Ireland. And honestly, I haven't had a chance to talk to Joe until I said hello here, 15 minutes ago. So Gemma and myself and Joe will have a conversation. But like I said, it's been a great relationship. We consider them friends, and you know, let's see what happens.
For Pedro, just wanted to ask how you're feeling about the underdog tag, and is that driving you even more in your training going into this fight?
I mean, being the underdog is nothing new to me, you know. Since I started my career, I always was the underdog back in Portugal and all the way on my Bellator career. I always was the underdog. I started my Bellator career in Bellator 200. You know, I was supposed to be like kind of a welcoming party to Daniel Crawford. I was clearly the underdog. What happened? I beat him. Then I went to Darion, one of the biggest names in this company, you know, and what happened? 2 minutes, I finished him like no one else did before. It's just another day in the office. In the end of the day, it's just another fight. Like I said before, when I'm inside of the cage, I see no names, I see no faces. I'm always the hunter, and doesn't matter who it is, it will be the prey. And next week, this week in this case, will be the case. You know, I'll end up my hand on top, champion, and make history. And one by one, I'll take this whole tournament.
Last one for me for James. You're a guy who has been controversial in the division. You've been sort of like Marmite, you know, people love you or hate you, and that includes some of the guys on this stage, not necessarily just Cal, who you're fighting, but obviously Darion, you've said some stuff about James before, and AJ, I know you have as well. How are you feeling up there at the moment?
I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks.
Thank you.
Talking about those rivalries, of course, one of the fascinating things coming up on two of the cards you've mentioned is, of course, Patricio and Patricky fighting Pedro and Peter. So we've got an SBG Pitbull brothers rivalry that we can look forward to. I want to ask the Pitbull brothers, how do you feel about this? Obviously, it's not country versus country, it's individual versus individual in mixed martial arts. But is there an element? Oh, your glasses have come off. Okay, there's an element. Is there an element here of Pitbulls against SBG as well?
Yes, it's a basic thing to do in Bellator because they are a great team, and we have several guys here too. And I think they fight good, but they talk too much, and I'm gonna stop it. That's it.
O único problema é que James Gallagher gosta de correr de luta contra lutador da gente da Pitbull Brothers.
He said the only problem is that James Gallagher loves to run from our fighters like Leandro Eagle from the Pitbull Brothers.
Poodles, fucking Pitbull brothers.
Shut the fuck up and accept the fight.
You see, you've got a fight coming up. You mind your own fucking business and focus on yourself.
Accept the fight.
You focus on yourself.
Let's go. Three with three.
Here, what are you talking to a bantamweight for?
Hey, shut up.
I'm gonna smash your face in. I'm gonna break your whole face.
I have a job for you.
I'm gonna break your brother's whole face.
Do you remember saying
he said Chandler and Henderson was the title limiters. No,
I have a job for you.
I'm gonna cave your head in, and then you're fucked as well. Shut your fucking mouth. Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck both of you. All right, James. All right, let's continue on. Let's go. Let's continue on. James, let's go.
Let's go, Leon. Let's go, Leon. Beat this motherfucker.
Come on now.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Phil. That was kind of exciting. Let's go.
Two Phils sitting beside each other over there.
Shut the fuck up.
Mckee, come on. Mckee, do something about it. Do something about it.
All right,
Yeah,
quick question
what's
for
up?
Pedro.
Go to your size, man.
Too small for me. Shut the fuck. Accept the fight for him.
Okay, guys, let's go on to the next question, please. Next fighters.
Dimitri Kagan with Matt Social. I got a question for Pedro. Yesterday you told media that you will stop Patricio, and I don't doubt that you could. However, how do you see that happening? Do you see it as a submission, as a stoppage, knockout? And what makes you different than every other guy that's fought Patricio that hasn't been able to stop him?
First, I'm an MMA fighter. Doesn't matter where the fight goes, I can finish this fight, you know? I'm a better striker than he is. He's only a counterpunch, you know? He started his career as a pit bull But right now, it's just a chess player. They're trying to pass time, win rounds, and
I
by
have more
points.
knockouts than you have victories.
And win by man, you're old, so it's normal that you have more fights than me, you know. But hey, next week you have one more loss.
This
you know?
week,
so whatever. Continue. These guys run their mouth, you know. These guys run their mouth, you know, talking about SVG. First of all, they were the first to come with this, you know, bullshit like blah, and trying to have our attention. And then when they got answers, they start to say that we talk a lot. They were the ones talking shit from the very first time, you know, backstage.
I want your attention.
You
Who
know,
the fuck are you?
Backstage, they don't act tough like that, you know. I tried to look at their eyes. They didn't look at it. They were shitting themselves, you know. So they just act tough in front of the cameras. But like I said, like, they are warriors, you know. They have my respect, you know. But inside of the cage, you know, the eyes never lie, you know. And these guys gonna see. First will be Patricio, and then will be Patricky, and then Patricio will have to defend his belt. And then Peter will be going right there.
What is happening?
And Peter will be like, man, you're the one.
Just
James
because
Gallagher.
he hurt you too
Hey,
much.
listen, James Gallagher is right there. If you want a picture,
because he hurt too much.
If you want a picture right with him, you can ask him. Man. You know
Stop being a fanboy. What
Just
do you
a
mean?
fanboy, just
Shut your
fanboy.
fucking life and focus on your own fight.
Listen,
you never worry about me. Listen,
Okay, next
the
question,
new king
please.
of town
Next
over
question.
here.
Next
Sits
question.
right there in front. He's gonna whip your brother's
Go ahead.
ass next week.
Next
so you
question
sit
for
there and
Vadim.
shut the fuck
Как ты
up.
кончишь бой с этим? Как ты его кончишь?
Ну, буду работать в своей манере, наносить тяжелые удары руками, ногами и бой, ну, хотелось бы нокаутом, а там как Бог даст. Спасибо.
I will fight my fight with heavy punches and heavy kicks. Of course, I'd like to win the fight by a knockout, but we'll see what happens.
Fernando Quiles Jr. for MMAnews.com. James, on a lighter note, Royce Gracie recently came out and he gave you a lot of respect. He said that not only do you have the talent, but you also have the discipline. What does it mean to get praise from a pioneer such as Gracie?
It's absolutely amazing for someone of that level to, there's no better man that knows. Do you know what I mean? This guy knows the game inside out. He's the one that started it up and he knows what he sees. You know what I mean? And for a man to recognize my dedication to this sport, it absolutely means the world. And it gives me nothing but motivation for my future and makes me more hungry and more disciplined and more focused than I've ever been before. Coming over this back injury, getting down on the rehab, man, I feel indestructible. I'm going to be in top shape come May 16th and I'm going to run through him and make people's jaws drop with the performance that I'm going to put on. Trust me on that.
Mate, 100%.
Trust me on that.
100% he's getting bombed out. Trust us on that. May 16, he's getting chinned. Guaranteed. 100%.
Getting chinned? You've never knocked anyone out in your life.
Mate,
you've never knocked anyone out in your life.
You've never knocked
bigger men
anyone
than
in your
you
life.
down. You haven't.
You're a man in a child's body,
You
mate.
haven't.
You're getting
You
bashed
haven't
up,
knocked
mate.
anyone
Trust
out
us.
in your life.
Trust us, mate.
You've never
Size
knocked
that
anyone
hill.
out.
There's no way I
You
missed that,
idolize
mate.
me. Look, he hasn't got my initials around his neck. He's a fan of me. So this is the
God,
reason why
isn't it?
he's in New York, is
Because
because
you're
of
a
me.
bitch.
It's his first holiday over to New York because of me. You're welcome, mate. You're fucking welcome.
Getting bashed May 16th, mate.
You're doing
Trust us,
fuck
mate.
all.
Trust us, mate.
You'll see.
You'll see, mate.
No.
Okay, next question,
We'll
please.
strangle you.
Hey, Cal, I guess I'll throw it over to you. For fans who haven't seen you before, what should they expect when you fight Gallagher?
Me coming out, putting it on him straight away, and him caving in. Straight over there. And look at him. I'm telling him now to his face, you get knocked clean out, mate.
You've never knocked anyone out in your
You'll
life.
see,
You
mate.
have no power.
I've put bigger men than you down, mate.
haven't.
Trust me on that.
You
I have,
haven't.
mate.
Who?
Trust us.
Who's
Plenty
someone
of
at 2
people,
and
mate.
26? The people you fight
Mate,
have 2 wins and
listen to
26 fucking losses.
He gets
I'm
offered Nathan
embarrassing
Grayson.
for you,
He
mate.
gets offered
I'm
Nathan
embarrassed
Grayson
for
and shits his
you.
fucking pants,
2
man.
and 26.
Shits his pants. Nathan Grayson's name gets mentioned. He shits his fucking pants.
Grayson, who the
Drops your
fuck?
fucking
Like,
bait, mate.
mate, come on. The reason you're the main event is because of me.
And there'll be plenty after this for me as well, mate.
Bollocks.
Trust
Bollocks,
me.
you're a
Trust
washing.
me.
You're a washing.
We'll
You're
see.
another bum
All right,
for me
next-
to be.
next question, please. Next
Can
question.
crusher.
Let's keep this thing
Can
going.
fucking Elner.
Exactly. You're a can. You're another one.
Time out,
Exactly.
boys. Let's go. Next question, please.
Follow Mr. Coker's advice. Next question for Gegard Mousasi. Mousasi, this is the second time that you're fighting a welterweight champion in a middleweight title fight. Your top control was just too much for Rory McDonald. Are you expecting more of the same against Douglas Lima, or does he present an entirely new challenge for you?
Well, I'm going to try to wrestle him a little bit. But he's a different fighter. Strength doesn't have to be a factor, I feel, if he's technical enough. But obviously, I feel I have the advantage in the stand-up.
And question for Ryan Bader. Ryan, you fought a who's who in MMA from, John Jones, Anthony Johnson, Rashad Evans, Quentin Rampage Jackson. The list goes on and on. How does Vadim Nemkov stack up?
Yeah, he's right up there with them. He doesn't have the name recognition yet, but he just beat 3 former champions, in Bellator, and he's one of the guys that everybody's been talking about coming up, and he's proved that he has a next title shot. So, especially like I was saying, coming down, it's different fighting light heavyweights than heavyweight, and so I'm on that in my camp, and I'm looking forward to that different dynamic that brings. But yeah, he's right up there. I mean, he's tough, but it's time to derail that train, and he has more time to build back up.
Darion with Fight Sports here. I'm talking to Ryan. Your last fight against Congo ended in controversy, and you had some interactions with Rampage Jackson as well. While you're focusing on your opponent right now, is there an opportunity down the line, do you think, for a rematch? And that's for Scott as well.
With Congo?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I would love to. They brought zero evidence that I poked him in the nose. There, how many cameras are at a fight? Or poked him in the eye. I poked him in the nose, and then he winced and got out of there. He wanted out, and that was his way out. And then, a drunk Rampage came over, called my sister a bitch, and they came over to the cage door when I was coming out, and started at me. So either one of them, but Rampage is nowhere near a title shot after his last fight.
And Scott, any one of those two down the line for Ryan, no matter what, at this contest?
Yeah, I think all the fighters are open at this point, and I think really it'll depend on, does he want to stay at 205 after this fight and then fight heavyweight after? It's something that we won't determine until after the fight on May 9th.
So a question for Michael Chandler and Benson Henderson. Gents, obviously you've met before. I don't know if you knew before today that Mr. Coker has seen it as an eliminator for the lightweight title. Going to second fight together. Benson, how do you feel about this second fight with Michael and being back in action?
Being back in action is going to be awesome. We got some great fighters here. Some of the guys get all worked up, get all antsy and whatnot. I think Bellator should do a one-off and let's have a fight tonight. Put it together, set it up. Who's all ready to fight tonight? Everybody's talking, let's do it. Set it up tonight. Bellator, we got a fight card right here. This is a fight card. Let's set it up. Bellator, get it done. How many people want to do it?
It's like a bunch of animals against poodles. A bunch of animals against poodles. A bunch of animals against a few poodles.
You are shitting your pants. You are shitting your pants.
Okay, guys. Hey, guys, let's have some respect for the fighters. Mr. Chandler?
Yeah, more importantly, we do have some fights coming up instead of just talking. But, this is great. Of course, it's an untitled title eliminator. I've been fighting for the title or being on in fighting for elimination bouts my entire career here, and it really is awesome. As Scott has talked, I think myself and the Pitbull brothers are probably the only three that have been here about a decade now. We're still up here at the top. We're still here in the big showcase. We're still doing some really cool stuff. So this is the size of everything that we're doing here in Bellator and the magnitude and going across the pond and doing all kinds of stuff. It's exciting. So for me, fighting, one of the biggest names in the lightweight division, one of the toughest fights in the lightweight division, getting the opportunity to do it now since he pulled out of the last fight and had a short notice opponent coming off of one of the best performances of my life. So I'm excited, reeling with confidence, and excited to go out there and do it in June.
And a kind of meta question for you again, Scott, really. As we can see today, it's probably a pleasure to be able to promote this because there's so many people that want to fight each other and there's clear vim under it all. It's back to you really, and just to ask you how great it feels at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just a testament to, goals that we set 5 years ago. And just for the record, Michael and Benson were supposed to fight in Japan on December 29th in the Ryzen versus Bellator card, but I think we had an injury, so it postponed it. Chandler went over there, had a great knockout. And it's quite popular in Japan now. So it's don't be surprised if you get the call again. We might go back at the end of the year. We'll see. But Benson is one of the top fighters in the world. He and Michael had a great fight last time. Looking forward to seeing the rematch. But as far as the overall fight card, I mean, look at come on. This 5 years ago we started with a very small roster, and now it's built up to be something we're very proud of. And a lot of boxes have been checked, and it's continued to check. We're not stopping here, believe me. We're not stopping at this point. We're going to keep building, keep signing free agents. This thing is going to continue to grow, and so this is just the beginning, Gareth.
Just a quick question for Gegard. In your fight against Lovato, your striking output was not as high as it normally is. Was that something that had to do with the way he performed, or an injury that you had going into the fight? Because at the end of the fight, right when the third round or fifth round ended, it looked like you limped a little bit, and then you kind of tried to shake it off. So was it his offense that kind of limited your output, or something?
No, I didn't have any injuries. I just felt like I didn't feel like fighting. That's it.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Any final questions?